Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello everyone, checking in on the market. So the SPY bulls came out swinging today with the gap up open, and we're going to look at some details now in the shorter term time frame because volume is king. Well, price action is king. Volume is our prove it indicator. We'll call it the prince. But what stands out in hindsight, of course, that 15-minute surge in volume was our bottom, and that was a bounce in SPY and a bounce in the tech sector. And we saw bull volume at the end of the day yesterday with a run into the end of the day closing strong. That led to the gap up open. Look at the bull volume we saw today. After the bell rang, we did see some continuation for the bulls, but the volume is not there. The volume was at the bottom, and it was at the end of the day yesterday. Look at the bear volume. Huge bear volume at the end of the day, marking the temporary top, giving us a big upper wick on the daily time frame and potentially our lower high. We knew we were going to form a lower high compared to 281.15. It might be set now at 273.23, and we are due for 4-hour consolidation. The 4-hour chart was very extended from the low of the move to the high of the bounce. It was over a 5% move without consolidating. So we broke the lower highs, we broke resistance levels. Now we need a 4-hour higher low and then continuation to prove that this trend change is following through. How this consolidation takes place is going to be very telling. Increasing bear volume will be a red flag. If we pull back down to the 266 range, that would be more pullback than the bulls would like to see. Ideally, they'd like to see just a quick little bull flag and then continuation to end the week on Friday, but we'll have to see what tomorrow gives us. If we break 270.12, there's a gap to fill at 268.12 in terms of the gap up open that we saw today. So consolidation has started, marked by volume, and now we're going to look at what it looks like into tomorrow. Daily chart's going to look for a higher low as well, and then we have to change the daily trend. Pretty much at this point, the 4-hour higher low and continuation move would show up on the daily chart with a higher low and higher high as well, if that is how it follows through. And if it is, we'll get a bull MACD cross along with it. Then we'll zoom out to the weekly time frame, and we'll start looking for that lower high. So the month is now over. The month closed with a 5% higher close, a little bit less than that. We'll call it a 4% higher close than where we were at the low of the month. And of course, like I said yesterday, all those infographics on CNBC over the weekend, striking fear into the market, talking about the worst month in however long. And we look at the monthly time frame at this point, and we have a lower wick and potentially our higher low compared to the February lows, which is what we are looking for. Again, the longer term scenario, now we are watching for a bounce and a lower high to be set. And if that lower high, if the bounce happens on low bull volume and we start to top out, we have to be watching for the potential of the lower high on the weekly and the monthly time frame. And then if we drop back down, fear and panic is going to come in if we break the October low and break the February low after that. So in my opinion, if this market is going to change from a bull market to a bear market, that's how it's going to happen. So we have to be watching what this bounce looks like and how much volume there is behind it. And again, this bounce is just now trying to get started. So we are going to look for more information in early November. IWM also weaker today, gap up open and profit taking, and we closed at the low of the day. So IWM on the 4-hour time frame, more significant consolidation has already started to take place. Have to see a higher low compared to 145.07, and then we'll look for continuation to see if the bulls can get that higher low and higher high move. The daily time frame is closing over the exponential resistance right now and looking at that bull MACD cross as well. And the weekly time frame, it's the higher low compared to the February dump low. So again, we just looked at it on SPY. Here it is on IWM. So holding a higher low, and now we're going to watch, do we form that right shoulder? That right shoulder might not take too long to form. So the monthly time frame might not be the best view for it, but the weekly time frame will. So if this bounce on the weekly time frame gets followed through and we get an inside bar bull break next week, we'll be watching for the potential of a lower high being set. So one time frame at a time, we have to change the 4-hour trend, we have to change the daily trend, and then we would have to change the weekly trend for the bulls to try and make their way back towards the all-time highs. Again, that's a long way away from happening. QQQ Lower high compared to 178.26 on the daily. Same thing, that 4-hour chart was even more extended, 7% or so bounce without consolidation on the 4-hour. We broke the lower highs. We now need a higher low and then a continuation move. If we break 168.54, there's gap to fill on the gap up open on the daily chart. And again, it's all about what this consolidation looks like into the rest of the week and whether it's healthy or not. QQQ on the weekly time frame, big bullish reversal candlestick, easily holding the February lows at this point. Same setup with the head and shoulders potential pattern that we're going to be watching if we do bounce and see continuation and see a daily higher low and higher high, but top out on the weekly with a lower high and then begin to fade again. Checking in on the financial sector. It too saw a significant bounce, lower high on the daily compared to 27.18. Big upper wick of profit taking. Same thing. We look at the 4-hour chart. We need healthy consolidation to form a higher low, and then the bulls need follow through. You can see it's a more significant daily inverse head and shoulders pattern here. If we consolidate and form that right shoulder, and we'll be looking for that bull move. And just looking at that on the daily chart, there's the left shoulder, the head, and then potentially looking for our right shoulder on healthy consolidation. Weekly time frame inside bar is likely for the financial sector to end the week. We still have 2 trading days to go on these weekly candlesticks, but inside bar for XLF and for IWM looks to be potentially likely. VIX on the daily chart. I'm loving this setup. This is going to give us an extra clue to be watching. So we have a daily equilibrium now very clearly forming. It's not forming on TVIX and UVXY. We have the high, low, lower high. We're looking for a higher low compared to 1706, and how this equilibrium breaks likely in November is going to give us some good insight. If it breaks bullish, that's going to tell us that we're heading back down to the October lows, and it's likely going to be bad news for the bulls. If we break bearish, that's going to indicate significant follow through on a weekly bounce for the market as a whole, and potential recovery back towards those all-time highs. So I am absolutely going to be watching to see how this VIX equilibrium does break in, likely in November, and it's going to give us some clues for the market in general. So bottom line, short term, we're looking for healthy 4-hour consolidation, and the big question after that healthy consolidation is, can these bulls see continuation and confirm the trend change? We've broken the lower highs. That's step number 1 of the trend change, but we need the higher low and continuation to confirm that follow through, and that's what we're watching for the next 2-3 trading days here on all these markets. So I appreciate you watching. We'll check back in tomorrow to see if this consolidation continues playing out from the end of the day sell-off, and I hope you have a good day.